Compared to other demographic groups, black women voters are the reigning queens of the ballot box. Last presidential election for Obama-Romney, 7 out of 10 voted, the highest rate of any racial or gender group. And in 2014, there were 3% more eligible black women voters than in 2012, up to more than 15 million.
All right, that's a good trend. And the number is likely to go even higher because of the campaign whose video we just saw. Hashtag Black Women Vote is aimed at getting black women all across the country to not just vote themselves, but to urge them to use their networks to get others to vote, and as they say, flex their collective voting power. For more, we want to welcome back to BK Live L. Joy Williams, the president of the Brooklyn chapter of the NAACP, and also a black girl who votes yes?
Yes, obviously. Thank you guys for having me back.
Oh, thank you for being here. Can you start by telling us how you go about advocating for black women to vote?
Sure. So, in addition to, running Brooklyn NAACP, I'm proud to be national founding chairman of Higher Heights for America, which is the organization that launched this project, Black Women Vote. And the first thing is educating not only black women, but the country about black women's political power. And you mentioned this in your intro, black women have been voting at higher rates. And it's not just because of President Obama, as people like to say. Obviously, that was a tip over. Yeah. But our numbers have actually been increasing for decades. And, as black women have progressed in this country and been enfranchised, we've actually taken full advantage of those rights and have been turning out to vote more than any other of our counterparts, whether they be black males or white or black women. So, the first step is educating people about their collective power, and then being able to activate and engage black women in a way to really think about politics a little differently. That is not just about identifying a candidate that you can, attach yourself to and vote for Election Day. But we like to say we think, voting is, or civic participation is, Election Day and beyond. And so really engaging in the political process for your own interests. So not just attaching to a candidate, but what issues matter to you, and then finding a candidate that matches that.
Those things. All right, can we go to the education part for a second? Because if you look at the sort of mass media landscape, if you watch some of those other guys, you would have no idea about the power that black women have and continue to build when it comes to their votes. Because everyone wants to talk about certain communities or the non-college educated white males voting for this
or
one.
Soccer moms.
Or
Walmart
soccer mom,
moms.
security mom, all of these things. Black women are never a demographic that are highlighted, although they are using their power.
Yeah. What's interesting, we could have a whole nother segment about how black women are unsung in every industry and everywhere. Just a fact, thank you, just a quick fact. Do you know the fastest growing group in terms of entrepreneurship who are building and creating businesses in this country is black women, right? And so when you're talking about engaging black women politically and on our issues, it's like, we're building businesses, and yet there's still this lack of access to capital and other resources to help them build. And so, we can have a whole nother conversation of why black women are always marginalized in conversations, whether it be in entertainment, in politics, or whatever. But, as you mentioned, black women, because of our turnout and our engagement rates, we have elected, not only a president, but you can look at the governor's race in Virginia as an example. It was black women who overperformed in that race that was able to get the current governor elected. And it's something that those of us in politics know. It's something that is maybe mentioned as a footnote here or there, or you have to read the polls, the exit polls and things yourself. But, like I said, the first step is educating everyone about our collective power.
All right, now you can't say that we never told you. But who needs to get the message? We see these black women, we see their issues. Who is being receptive, whether it's at the presidential level, the national level, the state level? Which politicos are getting the message?
you can tell who's getting the message in terms of what candidates, what campaigns, or what existing elected officials or entities are actually doing outreach to Black women and including them in their discussions about moving forward, their platforms, their plans for this country, or even, if we talk about here in Brooklyn and New York, who's engaging Black women and have Black women in leadership positions in order to address our issues. And that can tell you, as someone who recognizes our power. Certainly, in the entertainment industry recognizes our power. You can look and see how many things are marketed to Black women. From another statistic standpoint, Black women control about 80 cents to $1 that's circulated in the Black community, right? And so when you're talking about even our economic power, if you market or target Black women, you're more likely to get your products bought, if you're talking to us. And so really, again, it's about education and changing our mindset in recognizing whether it's our political power or economic power and how we can wield that to improve our communities and improve our livelihoods.
Yeah, what type of events do you sponsor?
Well, Higher Heights is a organization. We don't endorse it, for a particular party, or things like that. We really are about empowering Black women to engage in the process themselves, to make the decision for themselves. We have found over our work, it is not necessary all the time to beat over the head, to someone about an individual candidate. Yeah. But if you inform them of the process, inform them of the power, and helping them identify what issues matter to them, they self-identify what candidate speaks to them on their own. So the things that we do, we encourage Black women to call other Black women, in our sister-to-sister calls. So Black women here in Brooklyn are calling sisters in Ohio and Pennsylvania.
So what are those calls like? What's the biggest bar to getting someone activated? Like, what's the thing you gotta get over that inertia?
It's really not that hard. Again, it's identifying, it's calling, hey sis, this is an important election. We've showed up and showed out in previous elections, and we need to do the same thing again because they want, already the narrative on other cable news stories or whatever is that, turnout isn't the same for Black folks as it was for for Obama election.
Yeah.
Well, Obama's not on the ticket, and everybody is not, that's a historic election. Yeah. However, we should not discount the amount of Black women and other voters who are not only early voting in places where they have it, but will be engaged tomorrow for Election Day. And so these calls are really about, again, informing people of their power, reminding them of their vote, helping, as Brooklyn NaACP does as well. People may not know their poll site. Things get moved. And certainly we've seen in your segment before about all of the shenanigans that happen across the country about moving poll sites. Hundreds of poll sites have been closed and moved and changed across the country. So making that person-to-person call and saying, here's our vote power, this is the information on our vote power, this election is important, that encouragement to get out and vote that somebody cares.
Well, there you go. That's all the encouragement people should need, right? Get out there and vote. Black Women Vote. Thank you very much for being here and the great work that you do.
Shout out to my mom and my auntie, early voters in Chicago. Waited in line. All right, thanks for being here.